Hello again and welcome back. In this video we're going to look at how to bake polymer clay. Polymer clay will stay workable until it's cured in an oven. The temperature that the clay cures at depends very much on the brand you are using. I tend to use Fimo, and Fimo cures at 110 degrees Celsius or 230 degrees Fahrenheit. The clay should be baked for half an hour per 6 mm of thickness. So pieces like this will cure in an oven at 110 degrees centigrade for half an hour. One of the most important pieces of equipment you will need when baking polymer clay is one of these, an oven thermometer. It's not enough to set your oven at 110 degrees, as most ovens are not very accurate. It's crucial that you bake your polymer clay at the required temperature. If you bake at a lower temperature, your clay will not properly cure, and your piece could end up either soft or brittle. If you bake at a higher temperature, it can affect the strength of the polymer clay, and you run the risk of scorching or burning your piece. However, Fimo can be baked at temperatures of up to 130 degrees centigrade. This can increase the strength of the piece, but it also runs the risk of being scorched. You can also part bake polymer clay, so if you're working on a complex piece, and you don't want to mess up what you've already created, you can bake the piece at the recommended temperature for 10 or 15 minutes, and then add to it when it's cooled. It's recommended that you use a liquid clay to bond the uncured clay to the part-baked piece. You can bake clay for longer than the required time, but you shouldn't bake it for less than the recommended time. Polymer clay can be baked several times without causing any problems. It's advisable to preheat your oven to the correct temperature for about 15 minutes, and I tend to bake on a ceramic tile. I like to have the tile in the oven as it's preheating, as it helps to even out any fluctuations in the temperature. My preference is to bake the pieces on a sheet of baking parchment. This prevents the parts that touch the tile, or baking tray, from going shiny. If you don't have any baking parchment, you can also use regular copy paper. When the oven gets to the required temperature, I just put the parchment with my pieces to be baked onto the preheated tile. Ceramic tiles are perfectly fine to go into the oven at this temperature. One way to avoid scorching or burning your pieces is to ensure that you place the clay in the oven at the furthest point from the heating elements. I know many people use a toaster oven to bake their clay, so this isn't always possible. Also, a toaster oven tends to have a lot of temperature spikes where the elements will switch on and off to try and maintain the temperature. This heating cycle can cause scorching of the clay. One way to get around this is to make a tent from aluminium foil to go over your polymer clay, making sure that you don't touch the clay with the foil. These aluminium foil baking trays are perfect for covering pieces on a tile of this size. This should protect the clay from getting scorched. When you take your baked polymer clay out of the oven, it will still be quite flexible. It doesn't fully cure until it's cooled down to room temperature. Even then the clay retains some flexibility. If you're making jewellery, you can push the eye pins into the clay pieces before baking. As they're made of metal, they can withstand the heat of the oven. Similarly, you can wrap clay around a glass bottle and bake it on the bottle, or include glass gems in your piece. Anything that won't be affected by the heat of the oven can be included in your pieces. Unlike many other clays, polymer clay doesn't shrink when cured, so should not crack when wrapped around, say, a glass bottle. If you are using glass, it may be a wise precaution to put the piece in the oven when the oven is cold and bring it up to temperature. Putting glass into a hot oven can cause it to crack due to thermal shock. Similarly, let it cool down in the oven. If you have any questions about baking polymer clay, why not leave them in the comments section below. If you've enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos of this type, then don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching.